Hi, I'm Rebecca Brand. I just got back from a trip to Europe. I went to Berlin, Germany, and I went to exotic Spain, to Barcelona. It was a whirlwind of a trip. Those 2 weeks went by so fast. Hi, I'm Rebecca Brand, and I have the Tessan Universal Adaptor. This is a Tessan Voyager 205, the universal travel adapter that you can take anywhere around the world for the fastest charging of all your devices. This universal adapter is good for 8 devices anywhere in the world with fast charging. Let me tell you about it. Often when I travel, I need my whole production studio with me. All of those devices need to get charged. I'll have my camera, I'll have my laptop, and the batteries, of course. I go through a lot of those when I travel and make videos. And I always like to have my earphones charged for every occasion, whether it's listening to my videos quietly or on airplanes. And of course my iPad, and that always seems to lose a charge so fast. The quick charge feature of the Tessan Voyager 205 is excellent for those devices that seems to lose charge fast, like my iPad. And I always need my microphone, so I'm plugging those in too. In it goes. This is my 7th device, with room for one more, which will be my standard plug. And with 205 watts going through this Tessan Universal Travel Adapter, it's not going to do anything to the wiring coming through. It's going to pull in that power. If there were ever to be a problem with a plug, it has a fuse inside that would pop, so it would never do damage to anything inside, no matter how much power you are drafting out. The fuse that would pop is in one of these, and the other side has an extra fuse, so you always will have power. When I visited Tessa at the IFA conference, the representative showed me where the fuse was stored and showed me the extra one and how it was inserted. So no matter where you are in the world, you have all the choices of electrical inputs you would need from the Tessan Voyager. I went to Berlin, Germany, and I met the Berlin Bear. This bear is all over the city. It's called the Ample Man. To encourage road safety, they designed this traffic bear that was all over the city. It's now become a symbol of Berlin. Well, an essential for me when I travel is a travel adapter. I bring that with me everywhere when I travel. This is a Tessan travel adapter, the Voyager 205. That stands for 205 watts for heavy-duty power when you're on the go. It's the ultimate universal travel adapter. I traveled all over Berlin to sightsee. I found Berlin to be a fascinating city. It's a flat city. There's not a mountain to be seen. It's an old city with a beautiful view. I went up to a tower to get to that view. It's a tourist attraction right in the center of Berlin, which was a good stop to make so I could get to know the city and the landscape before me, in which the waterways are such an important part. More waterways than the canals in Venice, Italy. Everywhere I go, no matter where I'm at, I always need a power source though, in case I lose charge on my devices. My Tessan Voyager Universal Adapter fits in my smallest of travel bags, so it's handy. Berlin was a fascinating town. I even got to see the Berlin Wall and amazing sights, part of the history of Berlin. The streets of Berlin were so vibrant. What a great city to visit. I even caught some nightlife for developing a music genre called house music. House music is a really big scene. I was learning about it in Berlin. The disco I went to was Maxine's. This is a retro disco. They played all my favorite disco songs from back in the day. It was great to get out and do a little nightlife in Berlin. When I travel, it's always hard to keep up with having all my devices charged. At the airport in Berlin, I had to wait, and that was the perfect time to charge a lot of my devices just right up against the wall. When I travel, I sometimes get desperate for electricity, no matter where I'm at. The Tessan Voyager Universal Travel Adapter is the ultimate in a travel adapter. It has 205 watts. Now what that means is you can charge devices fast coming out of all those ports. It will extract the electricity from the wall outlet at a super high pace to charge your devices fast. And that's exactly what I needed while I was waiting for my plane at the airport. I didn't want to be sitting down by all my devices for very long. I needed them to charge fast. It was pretty pathetic, me sitting there, but I needed my power. The 8 ports made it easy to charge up multiple devices in a hurry. When you plug in the Tessan Voyager into the wall, it is a sturdy plug-in. It's not going to be wobbly and fall out. It's a quality plug. And it needs to be, because this device is the largest of Tessan's universal adapters because of having those 8 ports. They have engineered it to be strong and quality, to not fall out of the plugs when you plug it in to charge your devices. And this was a real test at an airport plug. I had about 45 minutes before I was off to Spain. I got all charged up and made my flight. Going to Barcelona was such an exciting experience because I got to see Antoni Gaudi's Sagrada Familia. The Sagrada Familia is a basilica. It's an enormous, iconic, and still unfinished part of the Roman Catholic Basilica in Barcelona, Spain, and designed by Antoni Gaudi. It's the sight to see when you're in Barcelona. The construction began in 1882, and I got to see how he designed it, with sandbags hanging off of strings. What a way for the architect to figure out how to bear the load of all the arches of the Sagrada Familia. Here's the sandbags he did it with right here. This was all upside down. And now look at the Sagrada Familia from the outside. Could you imagine? What a brilliant mind. Now this was all constructed when the French Impressionists were doing their thing with paintings. It was a very forward time of the world in the 1880s. The interior of the Sagrada Familia were gorgeous with the different stained glass walls. There was the cool hues of the greens and the blues all together, because that's where the morning cool light is coming through the windows. And the hot afternoon sun comes through the reds and the oranges of the stained glass on the other wall. What an artistic impression of warm light and cool light. To me, as an artist, I was blown away with how Antoni Gaudi, beyond architecture, did a whole impression of cool colors in the blues to hot colors in the reds. And look at the ceiling going from the ground floor all the way up. I was in awe of my visit to the Sagrada Familia. I suggest you check this out if you ever get to Spain. You gotta see this. And after seeing the Sagrada Familia, I went to Gaudi's house where he lived. This house is very narrow and about 8 stories high. Gaudi created his architecture based on nature. The interior of the house had all these tiles, almost like it was underwater. And going through the rooms, I could see how Gaudi might have lived back in the 1900s, early. And I saw the outlets. There were outlets everywhere. That was after they developed electricity. Although I did not have the nerve to put my Tessan Voyager 205 in, I had it with me because I take it everywhere. I could have if I needed to, but I didn't dare. On one of the upper floors, there was an outside garden where you could still see the towers. It was amazing to tour Gaudi's house. I suggest you go if you're in Barcelona. One of the things I love most about traveling is trying the different types of recipes and dishes made in those countries. I had to have the tortilla España. That's a recipe I've made on my channel. It was delicious, just like the one I made at home. I guess I followed the recipe pretty good. And then there was Iberian ham, and they're known for their tomatoes in Barcelona. So this is a very standard tapas dinner. They're also known for their seafood. So I had the langostinos and some other exciting dishes. Tapas are the thing in Spain. All of this was just delicious. And for nightlife in Spain, you've got to go see some flamenco. Flamenco is its own art on dancing and singing, of costume and guitar playing. I had seen flamenco before in the United States, but nothing like this performance that I saw in Barcelona, Spain. This was truly one of the highlights of my trip. I managed to go to the seaside, which is only 10 minutes from the center of town. I also took a bus tour. It was a double-decker bus, and I went through the city and had a bird's eye view of many of the sights to see. I always suggest the bus tours. It's a really great way to learn the city quickly, so you can decide where you want to go back to. I found it fascinating that Barcelona had so many motorcycles, a very popular way of transportation in Barcelona. It's a busy city. It's a very large tourist destination. I went off-season in September. I hear July and August is really busy, but in the month of September, the weather was perfect and it was beautiful every single day. The night scene is great in Barcelona, and the restaurants are breathtaking, and every single dish I had was fantastic. I love the food there, and the prices were amazing. About 1/3 the price of anything in the United States for food and beverage. So many of the restaurants had live performers. What a treat. Then when I get back to my hotel, it's time to recharge all of my devices. In my world, I sure have a lot of electrical appliances, including this little tap light I always take when I travel. And of course, that's an American outlet. My Tessan Voyager needs to go where I go when I travel around the world to fit any of the outlets I would encounter. And this trip, I had all the power I needed with my Tessan Universal Travel Adapter. I'm happy as a clam to charge up everything I have so fast. Even my curlers for when I get all dressed up at night. That's a must too. Isn't this amazing as a travel adapter? Click the link below to get your Tessan Voyager 205. This is the ultimate and universal travel adapters. I'm Rebecca Rand. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you subscribe to my channel and ring the bell to get notified of my next video. And let's keep making great recipes in life. And today's recipe is one for good travels where you're all charged up. See you next time. Now, I gotta go plan my next trip. If you like this video, here's more, including other places I've traveled. Just click.